All right, all right, all right. And we are live. What is going on, people? And of course, here's the first technical fuck up of the year. I forgot I was monitoring it on my phone, and it's like, oh, everything is quiet. We good to go. So there you go, you guys. There you go. That's that's how you know you're watching.
I'm just glad it's not me this time because I thought it was me for a second. I was like, oh man, I was like, did I have my headset all the way on full blast again?
Right. It's like, no, you're safe. You live to fight another day this time, Gabe.
Praise.
Straight up, yo, but welcome everybody to the Sweaty Cast. This is not only our second episode, but it is the first Sweaty Cast episode recorded in the new year. So first things first, happy New Year, everybody. It's been a while since we've seen y'all. I hope y'all had a good holiday season. Gabe, you know, this guy right here. This is the second part of the Sweaty Cast. How you been, bro? I feel like I haven't talked to you since the pre-show like 2 minutes ago. How have you been, man?
It's been a whole 5 minutes. I've been pretty good, man. It's been, well, I don't even know what day we're in. What, 15th, 14th of the new year?
Or you could say it's the 15th day of the new year, or as a lot of people like to say, day 546 of March 2020. Right. You know how that shit goes.
We're in 2020 remastered. That's right.
Straight up featuring Cranky Kong this time.
No, but I've been good, man. What about you?
I've been doing swell. I've been doing good. It's good to be back here on the YouTube game, bro, because this has been, I guess, my longest time away from YouTube in a while. So it's nice to get back into the swing of things with doing these streams, man.
Right. I know. I was like, man, when's the next podcast? Like, I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, man, it feels like it's been a long time. And that's because it has been a long time now.
Yeah. So the funny thing, you guys, is that we actually started this podcast before the holiday season. And we wanted to make it. Yeah, that was definitely a mistake because y'all realize what happens in the holiday season. Y'all get busy. You're doing whatever. Sometimes you just want to relax.
Chris is up here like, so we're going to try to do this bi-weekly. We're going to do this twice a month. He's like, we're going to try to keep on it. We're going to come up with new content. We're going to keep this thing going. And then it comes 6 weeks later.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in my defense, it was the holiday season, and we actually did try to record this last week. We were going to stream.
True. Yeah.
We were going to stream last week, just to get it out of the way, like first stream of the year. But as you guys can surmise, what went down at the Capitol last week, it felt kind of tone deaf for us to go ahead and do a podcast when all that stuff was happening. So I told Gabe, let's just push it off until next week. And here we are. We are here on the following week for what I assume is going to be another sweaty year, man. What about you?
I'm already sweating right now. My pits are a little wet.
So we got to get like some type of deodorant company to sponsor us. Dove, Old Spice.
Dove. I'll go for some Old Spice.
Because remember, listen, I live in New York right now, so it's kind of cold. But this man lives in Arizona.
Dude, it's sweaty 24/7 here. It's sweaty right now. I mean, if I go outside, it won't be as sweaty. But for whatever reason, no matter where you go in Arizona, it's just hot.
For absolutely no reason. Like
no reason.
This man's
like the worst part is like at my work, their AC goes off of headquarters. Yeah. So it's like, so if it's cold over there, they turn it hot. Well, it's usually cold when it's hot here. So that shit's just fucking burning up there. And we call it the Arizona weight loss system.
Oh, absolutely, man. You might not feel like you're doing an actual workout, but being in that hot weather, you guys are definitely doing some workouts.
Absolutely.
Yo. And one last thing before we dive into the episode, for everybody who's watching, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you are enjoying the stream, make sure you hit that like button. It helps the podcast out in so many different ways. It helps send it out into the ether for a lot of people to check out. In addition to that, since we are still working on a lot of the technical sides of the podcast, the layout is going to change within the next couple weeks, but also feel free to offer some suggestions. So if you can't hear either of us very clearly, make sure you let us know before we get deeper into the podcast, because we want to make sure that this is good listening entertainment for y'all's eardrums. At least that's what I think. I don't know about you, Gabe. You might just say fuck these people, man. They knew what they signed up for.
No, fuck these people, man. This is our show. This is how we're doing it. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
No, I want it to be comfortable. I've been trying to like upgrade some things to make it, at least visually pleasing, and messing with, bought this $100 mic almost a year ago now, and I'm still like don't know how to use it half the time, but we getting there.
Yeah, we getting there. So things, like I said, they are going to be changing within the next couple weeks. So bear with us, but we want to thank you guys so much for coming through for the very first episode of the Sweaty Cast in this year. Now,
thank you.
Because the nature of the industry right now, and then when you factor COVID on top of that, topics have been kind of light for the past couple of weeks, which honestly, I think it's kind of good in our favor because this past week, it's just been crazy, man.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been, geez, man, like outside of like anything that's, as far as entertainment, or I should say pop culture, outside of anything that's pop culture, just the world itself, like that's just been a nightmare, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think it's surprising considering everything happening in 2021 right now is literally just bleed. It's just like rollover stuff from last year. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really even feel like we're in a new year. It's that 2020 bullshit that they couldn't get out for the last week, man.
It really doesn't, man. It's like, it's like, yeah, 2021 turned, but nothing changed.
Hey, it is what it is. But we've got some sweaty topics to discuss.
Absolutely.
Gabe, I'm going to leave this up to you, bro. We've got a couple of things to discuss, but what is going to be our first topic? Our first topic for the new year, bro.
All right. I kind of want to go like fun to drama, but I think I'm gonna start drama to fun just because all the recent stuff. But I really want to talk about, because me and you talked about it, but we wanted to hold off of speaking about it until we got onto this. Really want to talk about this Ray Fisher shit.
Okay, so let me just give them a little bit of an intro, and then I'm gonna let you lead this discussion. But for those who are unfamiliar with what we are about to discuss, so Ray Fisher is, do you even really want to call him an actor, bro? Because I think he's only been in one production, and it might be his only production now that I think about it.
He's been in like a couple like smaller like TV series. I think he was like in like a couple episodes of True Detective, and I think that's it, dude. I think he was Justice League and Batman versus Superman. And the funny thing is that if you actually go to like the IMDb or the Wikipedia for both those movies, he's just listed as cameo.
Wait, even for Justice League, it just says cameo?
I think so. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he listed it. And he, he did the sweet off, Broadway production of Muhammad Ali, because we all saw that.
There we go. See, I remember that. Did he play Muhammad Ali in that one?
He played Muhammad Ali. He stacked on weight and you got muscles, and great production. Didn't see it.
I guess. I was gonna say, I guess I saw his understudy that day. I have no idea. But Ray Fisher of some fame, I don't know how you want to quantify that. Ray Fisher was an actor who played, I don't know if you call him, I don't know if you
talking like he died. He's talking like he just passed away.
Yo, but I mean, what he just did to his career, it kind of sounds like it, bro. But Ray Fisher, who is still alive. Ray Fisher's still alive.
Somebody just asked if he's an actress.
So Ray Fisher, he played a version of Cyborg in the Zack Snyder directed Batman vs. Superman, and reprised that role in the weird hodgepodge Frankenstein abomination that was Justice League. So in the past couple of months, he's been very vocal about this ongoing investigation regarding the treatment of Zack Snyder and a lot of the team and the staff on the production of Justice League. And it's gotten to the point where the way he classifies himself as is essentially the whistleblower who's trying to bring all this bad stuff to light. And, Gabe, for the people out here who are unfamiliar with all this controversy behind the scenes, can you catch them up to speed on what was going down?
Yeah, so Ray Fisher came out and said, I don't know how, honestly, it's been going on for so long. I couldn't even tell you the time, but I want to say it's just been all of last year, maybe 2019, but I can tell you it goes as far as back as the early of 2020. He came out and said that that like the production team of like Warner Brothers was abusive, and he more specifically was stating it was Josh Whedon. You're saying Josh Whedon was an abusive individual and was very abusive towards his character and towards him as an actor, and saying that he didn't like Cyborg, so he cut a lot of Cyborg scenes, and he didn't really want him acting, so he wanted more CGI. So he was saying that that's the reason why Cyborg was like all CGI for most of the movie, and that why he didn't have more human-esque look to him, like the Cyborg in Doom Patrol. And he just went on and claimed that, you know, that he basically was bullied out of being in the movie, and that basically that he had his role like eliminated from what quote unquote Zack Snyder gave him to what Josh Whedon quote unquote did during the rewrites, and did a whole allegation big spiel, which launched Warner Brothers like investigation team to figure out like why Ray Fisher had this Justice League Josh Whedon debate going on. And as far as everything came back, because he kept using the word toxic, I believe is what he kept saying, that everything was toxic. They went and investigated, and as far as everything went, there wasn't really anything that really has came back. They said they came to an agreement to some, I guess, some terms, but as far as everything goes, nothing happened. Let's put it this way. Nothing happened. They launched a full investigation. Nothing happened against Whedon or parties. Whedon went to say that he denied anything happening. Jason Momoa stated that he backed Ray Fisher and said there was abuse, but the rest of the actors didn't have any comments or really back him up in a sense that there was some weird stuff going on. So it's a very weird situation. And like in the last like month, from like, I guess you'd say from December to January, there's just been more and more stuff. Like first off, there was the announcement that he got written out of The Flash, but he said he didn't get written out of The Flash, and that was false. And then he came out and went on Twitter and said that he was removed from The Flash. So I'm like, well, what happened? And then what was the one that you were talking about, Chris? The DC president that he basically said that like if you are at all in hindsight of with these corporate individuals, that you are just as guilty. Basically.
So what he was basically saying was Walter Hamada, who's been the head of Warner Brothers DC on film division for, I want to say, since early 2018. He's been running the show, and basically Ray Fisher came out and said that he is complicit in all this stuff, which doesn't really add up when it comes down to the timeline of things, but we'll get to that later. But right. Yeah, there's a lot that Ray Fisher has said, and here's the thing, because I know we might get some people in here who are all about, you know, the Snyder Cut, and they want to support you know, any type of whistleblower victims in the industry, which I understand that. I mean, in an era of Me Too and exposing a lot of the corruption that exists in Hollywood, I know people, they always hate that I say this, but I think that the Me Too movement was actually good for Hollywood, in the sense that for the first time in ever, people are actually highlighting these Hollywood abusers. Now, don't get it twisted. A lot of these people who are out here saying, yeah, you know, Me Too this, Me Too that, they are just as complicit, because like everybody knew about Harvey Weinstein. They've known about this. They cracked jokes
that's been going on forever. That's been like a thing even reported back as far back as 2008, 2007.
Yeah. Like everybody's known about this guy, right? But at the end of the day, I'm always going to side with the people who have a story to tell. And it's not necessarily about believing everything, but it's at least giving them an ear to listen. Because, you know, it could be something important that's going on, which is why when all this stuff started happening and Ray Fisher was saying that, yo, there's something shady happening, I was all for it, because, I mean, let's be honest. Like, when we separate the whole, like, the fact that we like comic book heroes and blah, 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 you can tell that there was a lot of disagreements between Zack Snyder and the heads at Warner Brothers over the direction of these movies. Like it's just
absolutely
being honest. Like, and from
absolutely.
a creative standpoint, I do side with Zack Snyder in the sense that I can tell that literally this man was put through hell by Warner Brothers. They basically told him to retroactively change this entire movie while they were filming it, which is a disaster in and of itself.
It's almost impossible to do.
Exactly. Like by the time BVS had come out and there was a big backlash towards that movie, they were already shooting Justice League. So they were basically telling him to film it on the fly and giving him all these notes different days. So yeah, I can see how that could create a toxic work enviirment. And, a lot of these people, it's like how the Avengers actors are so close. I assume the Justice League actors would be close. So when
agreed, I think that too.
When Jason Momoa comes out and says, yeah, I stand with Ray Fisher, I definitely think that is true. Now, the other actors, I don't know. Maybe they don't think that it's legit, or maybe they just don't want to say anything to ruin their career. That it is what it is. But I think one thing, despite what we're talking about right now, that's very important is none of us, not me, not Gabe, not anybody out here knows anything of what went down with that production. All we can do is speculate.
There's been, and as far as that goes, there's been nothing. There's, as far as, Jason and his comment of just saying he supports Ray Fisher, there hasn't been anything else. There's lack of receipts, I'd like to say. There hasn't really been anything. It's all, like Chris has been saying, speculation, and that's really what it is. It's just speculation, and it keeps going on and on and on, and it's literally becoming its own kind of like saga at this point.
Yeah, it's become an ongoing joke because it seems, and here's the thing, really I can understand if, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say Ray Fisher, there is actual collusion in Warner Brothers, and they're trying to sweep it under the rug, and the investigation didn't show anything. Okay, maybe there is collusion. Right. Why does this dude get on Twitter and make these tweets that don't say anything, and it says check back for later? Like, yo, you remember that tweet? Like, yo, the tweet where Walter Hamada, when Warner Brothers announced that they were extending his contract, right? Ray Fisher quoted that tweet and basically said, yo, no, I gotta pull this up for posterity's sake. I gotta pull this up because this was just so, bro. I remember waking up, and this was, I think, one of the first tweets that I read. I was like, I'm confused.
You messaged me and said Ray Fisher needs to stay off his phone.
He definitely does. Like, where I need that quote tweet. I really hope he did pull it down. Okay, here it is. Okay.
Of course.
So the tweet was from Deadline Hollywood saying that Warner Brothers has extended Walter Hamada's contract. And this is what Ray Fisher had to say. It's weird how these reactionary announcements from Warner Brothers Pictures always forgets to mention that Walter Hamada was working directly with Jeff Johns and Toby Emmerich on Shazam during Justice League reshoots. ... More soon. # Walter knew.
There was never more soon either.
There never was. I just, okay, I get it. On some level, if shit is actually a big problem, I can understand you going out there and wanting to fight the fight. I'm with you on that, bro. But this whole you out here freaking subtweeting and then saying more soon, and then you never tell us more soon. It's not like he's dripping us information from the production that was so like pivotal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be one thing if he said that and then drip next case. Like, I can see that, but he hasn't done anything since then.
Not a single thing. Not a single thing, man.
I don't know.
Most of these like allegations or anything that has any sort of, I don't know, like incredible, I guess you'd say reports that actually have evidence, if they don't get the support they need, usually before they even post or go anywhere near as far as, making an investigation, they just start blowing them up on social media, dude. Like, most of the time, like on Twitter, there's just been like example, like Me Too. It's just dumps or like any sort of like harassment or any sort of like, toxic, like traits that are going on behind the lines. There's always like receipt dumps. Always. Either it's emails, texts, someone else's word of mouth, hey, that one guy that's holding the boomstick, something, that guy that was making the coffee in the back room, he heard this shit. Like, there's always like a collective, I wouldn't say they're all reliable resources, but there's always like a reliable source that's coming out. With Ray Fisher, it's like whisper quiet besides Jason.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so funny to me, because it's like starting a group of people to be offended over something and no one's like joining along. And it's almost like a meme at this point, because it's like I really want to know what's going on, but at the same time it's like, is there really anything going on? Like, I don't doubt abuse or harassment or any sort of toxic traits when it comes to directing, production, people behind the lines. Like, I like, like with the, like Tom Cruise yelling at people, like, he had a reliable, reason, but stuff like that does happen quite often behind the lines. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why is there nobody else reporting this? Why does he not post the receipts? If he got an investigation that was so back-ended towards him and just kind of was like, whatever, why is he dropping like anything? Like, why is there no, like, I don't know. I'm just like, it's just like, it almost seems like cry wolf to me. And I feel bad, because it's like, I want the guy to be right, but like, this man has been tweeting about this since like July to like spring of last year, and the most we got is come back later.
This man is literally blue balling us. And here's the thing. If he had the information, I can understand that's why he's blue balling, because he's trying to basically play this game of cat and mouse with WB, like, oh, don't tempt me, I have the receipts. I can understand that. Like, it's kind of like the difference between a swan dive versus a belly flop.
Yeah.
But for him, it seems like it's not even like he didn't even give himself a chance to jump in the pool. Like, this dude is just basically saying, don't make me jump in this pool. I will jump in that pool. Don't make me do it. And that's the thing. That's the thing, because all of these people came together to hype up the Snyder cut. They all came together to say, yeah, Snyder cut, blah, blah, blah. And I haven't seen anybody outside of Jason Momoa say anything about this. Like, not Ben Affleck, not Gal Gadot. And so, okay, on some level, I can see why Gal Gadot wouldn't say anything, because she already got what she wanted. Like, Gal Gadot boycotted Brett Ratner way back when, because Brett Ratner's production company had been financing a lot of films.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And so she said, I will not work with Warner Brothers. Basically, she put her career with Wonder Woman on the line, saying to WB, listen, you either find a new financer or I walk, which I think is pretty badass. And they did that. Sure enough, he is not financing the films. But after that, she went quiet, straight up. And then I'm going to look at some of the comments right now. But to keep it on track, Cody says a very good point. Gal dealt with it when it happened. Why did he wait 3 years? That's a very good point. And before people get it twisted, we're not out here saying that why do people wait so long. We should have an open and honest space for people to discuss these things instead of having to wait for so long. But it is kind of weird in this case, considering
absolutely,
because we knew all about the crazy shit happening with the Justice League production before the movie even came out. An opportune moment would be when everybody was dumping on the Justice League movie.
Yeah, when that shit was in a dumpster fire. Not the year that they announced the Snyder cut, which that to me just seems a little off. And like, especially now. So if you guys don't know, like the latest news, he's been officially from himself announced that it's more of a situation of Ray Fisher, you're fired, and he's like, I'm not fired, I quit. Like, kind of situation.
That is what it is.
But he is not going to be in any future projects with DC. He's not going to have his Flash cameo. He's written out and removed. So my thing is that if he has all this stuff and there's nothing for him to lose, why is he not on Twitter or anything, Instagram, something, MySpace, just dumping fucking just dumping this information? Like, I don't understand. Like, he's got nothing to lose. Like, if he was worried about his career at Warner Brothers, and trust me, his career at Warner Brothers done. Why is he not just like lighting these guys up? Like, I don't understand it. Instead of just like posting more and more about the quote unquote, confunkery. Like, he almost reminds me of like a tinfoil hat loyalist. like he's like the new co-host for InfoWars right now. Let me tell you something about Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers, they're against me. They're trying to corrupt me. They ruined my career. And he's just like,
anything about the gay frogs? Is there anything about the gay frogs?
Let me tell you what. They want to replace Cyborg with a cybernetic gay frog.
No, but
he's going to be voiced by a white guy. So that's all wrong right there.
Yo, dude. And that's what's so weird about this whole situation, because I don't know, like, what are we gonna get from this going forward? I really don't.
I don't.
Because the last thing he said about the situation is that he's still in talks with Warner Brothers about this. But I thought that the investigation was over. So, like, what talks could y'all really be having? You're gone from the movie, bro. Like, I don't get, like, how weird is that? Like, yo, like, the investigation's over. You're still mad. You're saying all this shit. We took you out of the movie. Like, how is he gonna get back into this universe? I don't know, bro.
I think it's done. It's either one of two things. Cyborg's going to get recasted with this quote unquote Flashpoint, change up, or there's just not going to be a Cyborg in DCEU.
Like, I did hear something along the lines of not only did they boot him from the movie, but they are also not going to be recasting. They're just done with that character, which I mean, I would say that's a shame, because there's so much they could do with Cyborg. And I think
absolutely,
there is a story to be told about the idea of a man losing his body and what can go from that route.
And let me tell you, if you want to know that story, you can watch Doom Patrol, and it tells it pretty well.
There you go. So if y'all want,
see, there you go. In chat, someone repping it. Yeah, they know. They know about that Doom Patrol Cyborg.
There you go. So I don't know, like, what could have been for Ray Fisher. At this point, I think it's whatever, because I'm gonna be real about life for a second. Even though I've enjoyed some of the DC movies recently, it's not consistent enough to the point where I'm gonna go, damn, I really want to see a Cyborg movie. Because bro, the Cyborg movie was supposed to come out last year, remember?
Yeah, I remember the image too, like the poster or whatever they made for it. Like, when they did like those big reveals, like, hey, these are all the movies we're making, and I still remember like the blue font of it and everything, and that's been non-existent. Like, yeah, seeing more people in Cyborg and Doom Patrol is amazing. They know about the Cyborg and Doom Patrol. Now Chris just got to get on the Doom Patrol train, and he gonna know the greatness of the Cyborg and Doom Patrol.
I definitely will. I mean, I'm only like 3 episodes in. That's where I stopped. But this man, Gabe, be hyping it up. It's one of his favorite new shows. And it's got Brendan Fraser in it. So,
one of those shows. It's one of those shows, and I know there's a lot of people that happens to. You ever load up a show and you just are trying to watch something, you don't know if it's going to be good, and you kind of go into it with I really don't care kind of mentality. That's how I went to Doom Patrol. I was like, I just wanted something to watch. I'm paying for HBO Max. I gotta get use out of my subscription, because this shit ain't getting used. We're gonna load it up. We sitting in the underwear, eating Chipotle. We having a good time, And I was like, God damn! Before you know, I've watched 4 episodes, and I was like, didn't even know Brendan Fraser was in it, so that had me hyped. I was like, my boy Brendan Fraser, he's back. He's back. If y'all don't know the horrible things Brendan Fraser went through, so good to see him back. And in a lead role too, my boy. And before you know it, man, like, I'm like 4 episodes, 5, 6, 7 episodes, fucking down the rabbit hole I go. And dude, that show is absolutely amazing. It's so out of the box for anything DC that it's just fun. Like, it has the dark stuff, but it's got the humor, and it's just done so well. You have to watch it.
I definitely will get on to that. The last show that really did that for me was the Umbrella Academy. Cobra Kai. Yes, Cobra Kai. Yes, Cobra Kai. But also the Umbrella Academy. Like, I fell in love with all those characters. Yeah? The story was interesting.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I just have one question, Chris.
Yeah.
I just have one question.
Yes.
How's that season 2?
I've not watched season 2 yet because
yeah.
No, it's not. Listen, let me tell you how I watch TV, right? So when it comes to these shows, I like to let them wait, let them get a couple seasons in, then I can binge them. But then
did you see The Boys season 2?
Half of it. Because I don't want, bro. Because what happens is I get so pissed off that I catch up with it, and then I have nothing else good to watch. Like I did that for Sex Education. Like I'm so happy that season 3 is in like I think a week or two. I'm so happy that show is back. Like Sex Education, Mandalorian, finished that up. Now I gotta wait a year and a half for that. But
oh man.
But I see this is why I have shows like Umbrella Academy season 2 and The Boys season 2 and all these other shows like Doom Patrol to catch up on, like Cobra Kai.
You got plenty of Doom Patrol, trust me.
I know.
You only got a set limit of Umbrella. Bro, I'm telling you, the fucking goddamn the ending to season 2 of Umbrella Academy. I'm just like, my God, where is the show gonna go next? Like it is so. Like, yo, you think season 1 ending is confuckery, bro? Like, season 2's ending adds so many goddamn questions. You're just like, now I gotta wait forever. I mean, honestly, the spooky part of finishing Umbrella Academy season 2 was waiting for there to be an announcement of season 3 because they didn't announce a season 3 revival or renewal until way after, and I was low-key kind of sweating there, and I was like, there's no way Netflix is going to cancel this gem. But someone asked what Umbrella Academy is made by whom? It's made by Gerard Way, which if you don't know, he is the singer of My Chemical Romance.
Holy shit, look at that. Talk about a pivot. And that's the best part about it. Sometimes you think you're going one way in life, and then boom, you do something different. You give us
fun fact. He's also related to Joe Rogan.
Oh my God.
I'm not joking, bro. I'm not even trolling you.
That's insane. I'm not even. And I thought all black people were related to each other. What is going on now?
I don't know nothing about that.
And now everyone's related to Joe Rogan too. But yeah, that's all we really got to say as far as the Ray Fisher controversy is concerned. The Snyder Cut comes out this spring, so that'll be very interesting to see it unfold.
Is it still slated for is it still I guess I should say on time? Like there's no delays or nothing like that?
Well, all we know right now is that it's going to be starting in March, and they'll have it done in episode format, because it's going to be like a long, I think it's like Jesus 4 hours Christ. Or something. Yeah.
We got Return of the King with Justice League.
But it's not going to have any of the payoff of Return of the King, which is going to really suck. But it should be interesting because we're going to watch it, and then we'll come back and be like, y'all motherfuckers really hyped this shit up for 3.5 years.
Dude, I cannot wait to come back and talk about that because it's like, it sounds weird, but it's like, I don't know why I'm excited to watch it. But then you kind of talk about it on let's watch this dumpster fire even more. And you're kind of like, yeah, let's watch more. But it's like also at the same time, I know this sounds like completely contradictive, but it's like at the same time, I hope it's decent. Like at the same time, I really hope for all those fans, everybody around that, all the cries, all the Snyder cut to the point where it became a meme and it crossed over into other things, release the Snyder cut. I really hope it's something decent. I don't think it's going to be, but I really hope it is. I mean, Darkseid's looking kind of spooky, but
honestly, I am not going to be as cynical as I usually am when it comes to DC movies. I'm excited for the Snyder Cut. I actually am excited for the Snyder Cut. Now, maybe that has to do with the fact that I pay for HBO Max and it's going to just be there.
Your money's worth.
Yeah. So, but I'm also excited because finally, after 3.5 years, people will finally shut up about there being this definitively, I think it is going to be better than the original Justice League. Like, no questions asked. The bar with that was set so fucking low. We're in Australia. But when it comes down to it being this secret movie that people have been talking about, I think it's going to be like the ultimate version of Batman vs Superman, where it's a better movie and things make sense, but it's not going to be this crazy, like, secret 99% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes like all these people are saying. It's still going to be the same, like, same movie, same characters, same vision, you know?
Right. Like, I mean, what was the runtime of Justice League? Like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, something
2 hours,
like that.
2 hours.
2 hours. Okay, so it's going to be like a 4 hour, right? Do they confirm that they're hour long, or is it longer than hour long? So like it's not 4.5 or anything like that.
The fact that it's not in one movie format, and the fact that it says it's gonna be separated into different segments, leads me to believe that like one will come out and be like maybe 40 minutes to an hour. Next part will be the same. So I think it's gonna be like 4-hour blocks they release every week or every other week to get people excited.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. Like, I'm like, man, is the future of this universe on HBO Max?
Oh, speaking of which, we might as well, just to draw this out a little longer, because there's not a lot of topics to discuss today. We might as well talk about how, and you might not have noticed this, Gabe, so it might be new information to you, but
hit me.
Have you noticed that the majority of the people who are really like pushing the Snyder cut, it's more HBO rather than WB? Have you noticed that?
I just did now.
And here's why.
I never thought about it, but now I have.
So here's my little tinfoil hat conspiracy. I feel like Warner Brothers is done when it comes to Zack Snyder. They are done with him. Like, they don't want anything to do with him or his universe. The only things that are going to carry over from it is going to be the stuff that made money, which is Wonder Woman and Aquaman. But in terms of
Man of Steel,
Superman doesn't exist over there.
That's true. Yeah.
Man, Superman, that boy, sell the rights to Marvel. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But here's the thing. I think the only reason that we're getting the Snyder cut is so HBO Max, or more specifically, their parent company, AT&T, they want something to boost the numbers of HBO Max. Because when you look at it on paper, bro, HBO Max is not doing as well as everybody thought it was. I think someone in the comment section will probably bring it up, but I don't even think they have more than like 10 million subscribers, which is actually really bad when you factor in that Disney, in like even less time, they have like triple, quadruple that stuff. It's insane. Which makes no sense, because you would think that HBO, because they've already had this established audience, it'd just be easy. But I think just the lack of content and the fact that HBO Max is not available worldwide.
And device limited as hell too, up until like
it just got
December.
Roku. Yeah, it just got Roku support, which Roku I think is like the #1 streaming set-top box people have. It's built into a lot of TVs. So
built into mine.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like they handicapped themselves. So here you have AT&T. They're like, all right, we want to do something. Like, there's going to be no movies for the foreseeable future. We need something on our service. Boom, Snyder cut. That's what some people want. So if they can get people to subscribe to it for a month or 2 months, however long they need to before it goes out on Blu-ray, I think they're going to do that, which makes sense. But I don't think that, because if this is a success, I can totally see AT&T being like, okay, this worked out well. Let's see if we can do more stuff in the Snyderverse. I think like AT&T is going to push more of the Snyderverse, whereas Warner Brothers is going to push more of the multiverse stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why do you think Warner Brothers is just done with the Snyderverse? What makes you say that they're just like, fuck this shit, we're moving on?
I think it has to do with the damage to the brand. And before, I didn't have a really good... All I could say was damage to the brand, because look at the box office of these films that should have done great. But honestly, bro, I think what really got them into thinking, okay, we need to go into a new direction, was the fact that Birds of Prey bombed. Because remember, here's the thing. Like Suicide Squad, everybody said they might not have liked the movie, but everyone said they loved Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. So they give her own movie, right? It was supposed to do really well. But I think because there was just that stigma of, oh, she's part of that old DC universe, I think a lot of people didn't show up for it for that reason.
Now, do you think it was because of that, or was it because it was also during like the pandemic?
Well, it came out a full month before the pandemic started. So, most movies make their money within the first month. and that didn't do anything. If it came out the week of the pandemic, absolutely, but it came out a prime time, Valentine's Day. Like if my girl wants to see that Harley Quinn movie, I'd go see it with her because that's just what you do.
Yeah.
So I think that, and from what I've heard, like some people liked it, some people didn't. But as a general rule, it was one of the better received DC movies.
So it came out February 7th in the States.
Oh, that's way more than a month before the pandemic started.
I think it was March, wasn't it?
Yeah. The movie was rated R. Yeah, the movie was rated R, Sterling.
Yeah, it was rated R. But I think that was another thing that
could have been a factor. But I mean, Deadpool did really well twice. Logan did really well. So if it was like a really nice raunchy type movie, I think people would have loved it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I feel like that. And another like perspective is that if you look at the mass like amounts of fans of Harley Quinn, set aside, how many, grown women besides, ones that have daddy issues are really like big into Harley Quinn? Not many. It's like, it honestly, to me, it feels like it's a lot of, I don't know, I guess you'd say, I don't know, teenage girls, that are really into Harley Quinn for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So like, I feel like that a lot of the fan base for that film was underage. I mean, I could be wrong, but I can't tell you how many like, people I know, or at least, people who have the kids who are like, middle school or teenagers, or even like relatives that like, they're into Harley Quinn, but like, I couldn't tell you a single grown adult woman that's mentally stable that likes Harley Quinn.
I know way too many who, well, it's not that they even like Harley Quinn, like the character. They like the idea of her, which I think that movie should have done better than what it did, which is it at least should have done like 500 million. It doesn't have to break $1 billion, but I just think that right now with DC, they're throwing everything at the wall and hoping something sticks. And that's what they're banking on. That's why they're greenlighting this Flash movie. That's their Flashverse with Batfleck, but then they're also bringing in older Michael Keaton, and now there's rumors about Batman Beyond, and so now we've gone from Batfleck being our new Batman to not being in this universe anymore. Now Michael Keaton is going to be Batman. Now they're talking about Batman Beyond, but then they got the Robert Pattinson Batman. It's just like, oh my god,
there's so many Batmans,
dude.
I was thinking that too, man. I was like, yeesh, man. Like, how many? I'm like thinking in my head. I'm like, how is this all even going to work out? The verse to begin with, like, are they really just doing like a hard reset with this movie? Like, is that why this movie keeps getting projected out so far? Because I personally was very excited about the Ben Affleck Batman movie, and especially now that it's and now they're coming out talking about what it was and what the script was. I'm even more excited because it could have potentially been a very good Batman movie as far as in this universe. And now it's a shell of its former self. I mean, the new Batman, I'm pretty hyped for. Like, don't get me wrong, I am dumb hype. Like, I saw that trailer. I said I need that movie next week, and now I'm getting it in hopefully. Oh no, it's not coming out this year, is it?
It got pushed back, I believe. I want to say 2022.
Oh shit! Yeah,
did it?
I guess
Hold
you're
on.
right.
Let me just do a quick search because I remember they pushed it back. They pushed it back very early on. They're like,
March 4th of 2022. Oh my
god, we still got over a year for this shit.
Because it was supposed to be an October of 2021 movie.
Yeah. Oh, man. The Batman Riddler costume in the Mountain Dew tie-in image. Oh god. How do they have that stuff already? Like, the movie, I can understand if the movie was shelved and we found it, but no, it's literally, wow. Is on Twitter and it's like a tease. Why are we teasing a movie that don't come out for a whole? Oh my god.
We call those clickbaits, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that the details about was it Matt Reeves being like crazy on set is false. Like, I'm hoping that shit ain't real. I don't know if you heard about that or not.
I heard about that. But when it comes to like DC productions, I always take them with a grain of salt because it's like I feel like every movie there's some fuckery happening, and maybe there is some fuckery because knowing WB intervention, you know, there is a because they want this movie to succeed. Like this movie, if Batman,
needs to succeed.
Bro, if this movie,
it has to succeed.
If Batman, if it comes out and it can't be divisive. First off, they can't have a BVS where half the audience likes it, half the audience despises it. It can't. It has to come out, and it needs to be that movie that makes people go like, "Damn, DC's back, baby!" Like it just there's no way. Like it has to be good. And what worries me is because this movie has been gestating for so long. So for people who don't realize, the Batman movie was originally going to be a Ben Affleck produced, written, directed, and starring film. Like that was going to be his vehicle movie, right? And then because of all the situations happening with BVS and Justice League and his own personal problems with his marriage, he's like, I'm not in the capacity to really do this. Behind the scenes, apparently, Warner Brothers kept rejecting his scripts because they didn't like the idea of it. You know, how true that is, how true it isn't, is whatever. They hired Matt Reeves at the beginning of 2017. Oh my God. Bro, they hired this dude 4 years ago.
Hey, that could be a good thing. That could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. If we put it in Lord of the Rings perspective, and they did 3 years of, production, that's a really good thing. I'm just saying, I'm trying to make this look in the nice hindlight side of, hey, it could be a good thing. I don't know when they started on anything. I don't know when they really got the ball rolling. I mean, I know that Pattinson replaced Ben Affleck last year, but I mean, it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't know, but it's been a long time.
Bro, they announced him in 2017, and I think they were just working on getting this script right for so many years. They started filming in 2020. It's just like, I understand, yeah, you get people early on, and of course these movies don't happen overnight, but that's mad weird. How are you spending 3 years of time doing pre-production for a movie? That's a little strange, you know? That's a long time, bro. 3 years? Yeah. That's a long time for pre-production, bro.
Hey, Lord of the Rings had 3 years.
Well, to be fair though, that's also a freaking 12-hour movie when you think about it.
Okay, true.
So we'll have to see as far as that's concerned.
Now you got me spooked, Chris.
I listen, I'm excited for it. I'm so hyped. I watch that trailer like every couple weeks. It's a great trailer. Matt Reeves is a great vision. The way he talks about Batman and his gallery, it's awesome. But again, it's also a DC movie, so you kind of have to. You have to go in there hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. That's it. DC on film. Hope for the best, expect the worst.
Oh my God. Dude. It's sad. That's sad to think too, because honestly, bro, if I'm being real, I honestly can see like the future of most of these I guess anything in the DC as far as this universe. I'm really feeling that it's going to be more on the streaming side than it is going to be on theatrical side, depending on where this all going, like with Abrams working on the Justice League Dark, James Gunn making, the series as well on HBO Max. Like there's a lot. And what was that other announcement they did recently too, where they said that there's going to be multiple, live action DCEU projects on
they
HBO
said like
Max.
4 projects a year. And I think half is split between movies. The other half is between shows. It's like a crazy number. They said starting within the next couple of years, they're going to do that. And I mean, when you think about it, it sounds like a lot. But then when you look over at Marvel and see what they're doing. But you see, the thing about Marvel is they can do that because Kevin Feige has built it up to a point where now we can finally get X amount of movies and TV shows done at the same time, and I think the audience can handle it because there were years that went on where it's like just one MCU movie, then they bumped it up to 2, and then in 2017 was when they started 3 movies a year, did it 17, 18, 19, and the audience had no problem with it because if you look at the trajectory, all the movies keep making more money and more people see them. And that's what happens with the brand. You know, when you establish this brand and you build it up to the point where it's so organic, where people who don't even really care much about, like, let's just say Scarlet Witch or Vision, but now they're so excited for that TV show because of the implications of the universe. That's how you do it. DC, I'm not saying they can't do that, but when I see them doing like 4 to 6 productions a year, I get nervous because we already know there's no universe to get excited for this stuff. So now it's just like, okay, now I'm going to be hyperventilating all year long. Maybe this will be good. Maybe it won't be good. It's going to be bad.
It's true. It's true because it's like it's really what you said earlier. Like, it's just throwing shit out there and hoping something sticks. It really is. And I'm hoping some of this is good. Like, I'm hoping that Green Lantern show is good. I'm hoping that Justice League Dark show is good. I'm hoping that James Gunn TV series is going to be good. I'm hoping all these. I hope that Gotham PD. They're still making that, right? I hope that's good.
I don't even know. Who knows at this point? Oh god.
I hope something's good. And we got, out of all these shows, I honestly, in movies and stuff, I honestly forgot that they're making a Black Adam movie. I completely forgot about that.
Bro, they announced that movie. Do you want to know when they announced that thing? And I love the fact that
I know it's been a long time.
Yeah, my time on the internet is a virtual diary of all DC's fuck ups. They announced that back in 2014, bro. Bro.
7 years.
7 fucking years.
What have we got in 7 years? We got 3 Star Wars movies.
More than 3 Star Wars movies. We
had 3. Yeah, you're right. We got 5.
We had the sequel trilogy. We had Rogue One. We had Solo. We had 2 seasons of The Mandalorian come out. Like, we had from 2015. So from 2014, we had all these MCU movies, bro. How is this?
I was gonna say, what does that translate into MCU?
Everything, bro. It just, someone says it's actually 12 years because he was cast as a character since 2007. But that's the thing, Cody. He said he expressed interest and they want to do it, but I don't think they really signed off on it because that was a different interpretation of the character back then. But even then, Cody, we can't even say 2014 because that was probably a different interpretation then. Bro, they just be signing actors to deals without having a movie. Like, they don't have a director, script. No writers, nothing. It's just, we want The Rock. It's just like, we don't have anything.
Bro, that doesn't work, man. Like, that, they do that so often. It's absolutely insane. Like, it works once in a blue miracle. Like, and even then it still has its problems. Like, I'm gonna like The Hobbit. The Hobbit, for example, I was telling you about that. They filmed those whole ass movies in 2 years. With no script, nothing. Right off the bat. Peter Jackson and his 21-hour days. 3 hours of sleep to at least keep somewhat of the vision that he was hoping for.
It's just, I don't know, man. I feel like
gotta keep these corporate heads out of these movies. That's where it all went wrong. You absolutely
have to. Like, and there is no creative vision over at DC. Like, a lot of people don't like it when I say this, but they need a Kevin Feige. They need somebody who can just say no. Instead of someone saying, okay, we're just going to like do all this stuff. And God, it's bad.
Absolutely, so bad. Man. Like I'll give with Marvel, I don't know if they just kind of like lucked out or if they just, they made, a right decision. But, the first, the whole start of the MCU was in Paramount. It wasn't even in Disney's hands yet. And Kevin Feige was already behind those movies ahead of time. So they already had a right kind of track kind of deal. And then going into the whole Disney buyout and everything like that, Disney kept everything, together because it was working. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those situations where everything lined up perfectly. Yeah. And now, could you say that it would be the same if it was someone else besides Kevin Feige? Would you say that it would still be as good as it is today if it was someone completely else and Disney was just experimenting around, kind of like what's happening with Star Wars, because they don't really know what to do with Star Wars? I mean, now they do. Now we're getting there, but
they finally know what to do now. Yeah.
Because like that's like one thing I've always looked at, and I've noticed the biggest difference between Star Wars and the Marvel buyout is Marvel was already on this good track. You had Iron Man, you had Iron Man 2, you had Thor, and of course you had Captain America. Like those were all Paramount production movies before, because they were already well in the verse of making those movies before Disney's buyout. So it's like, was it the fact that they happened to come in at the right time with the right job, or is it just, one of those situations where, they hoped for the best? Like that's something I always think about, like, because Kevin Feige is great. Like he does everything perfect. And the fact that they're giving that man a Star Wars movie makes me very happy. But I always wonder, like, I always see that's like the biggest difference is you got one guy who really, really cares about this project or projects, I could say, or, outside project universe, cares about the whole goddamn pie. And then you have like people like, I'm not saying she doesn't care. It's just more or less not given a voice. When they have people like Kathleen Kennedy, which I give her credit where credit is due, Chris's favorite saying, but I don't feel like she has a voice in when things get pivoted or go off track, where Kevin Feige's like, no, this is where this is going. This is how this is working. This won't work because of this. And it goes to prove, how well the MCU's really turned out.
So I think there's a reason for that. Kevin Feige, I don't necessarily believe he is just this unicorn people think, like he just came out of nowhere. I think the reason why it works so well and how he can navigate through the systems is because Kevin Feige is a producer first, Marvel fan second. So he started out his job way back when in the early 2000s producing the Fox X-Men movies, and he had producer credits in name only on a lot of other Marvel movies from Sony and stuff. So he worked through like the best times and also the worst times. So he took all the experience he got from that, and then he went ahead and he started Marvel Studios and went from there, secured the funding from all these other companies. But the problem, it's not even a problem per se that I think, well, basically what people forget is that the MCU, Kevin Feige didn't have full control until like 2016. Basically, what happened is he always had people above him, as it is for the most part. And there was somebody by the name of Ike Perlmutter who, through some BS, basically he had final say on a lot of the stuff at Marvel because he owned part of it. Not anymore. He actually took a job. He took a job with Trump back when Trump got elected. And he did that and everything. And then that's when Kevin Feige got full control. Basically, when Disney was like, oh, so this guy's actually good at what he does. Essentially, when the Avengers movies started making billions of dollars, they were just like, yeah, we'll let you have all this. So the only person Kevin Feige really reports to is, it was Alan Horn and everything. And now he's just the head of everything. So this dude, he worked his way up, and you can't just go and find somebody to do that. You have to build them up, which is why Warner Brothers was looking very heavily at Walter Hamada, because Walter Hamada, even though he's not, I don't even think he's really a superhero fan like that. Because if you look at like Kevin Feige, if we bring Kevin Feige onto the show, I think we're gonna see he has the Thanos gauntlet. He has everything in the background. Like, he's a big fan. Walter Hamada is a great business person because Walter Hamada produced a lot of the really successful horror movies over at WB, which is why they got him to do the DC stuff or to take over, because he produced The Conjuring. Did you know The Conjuring had a cinematic universe, Gabe?
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I remember reading that forever ago, and I just kind of like eyeballed it because I was like, really?
Yeah, The Conjuring cinematic universe was the first universe after Marvel to actually be a bona fide success. People love watching it. And they just said, hey, we're going to give you the keys to DC. And so far, the movies that he has greenlit, some have done better than others. You know what I'm saying? Like, he greenlit Joker, which that was a big success. Nobody saw coming. And I think he also...
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you really haven't seen Joker yet? Wow.
No.
Oh my God, bro. But that's like the internet's movie. Like, that's where...
I know, bro. Like, I think Dude, I think about that a lot. I know I need to. It's on HBO Max. I paid for HBO Max. I should probably watch it. I hear so many good things about it, and honestly, the main reason why I never seen it is because I was supposed to go and see it in theaters, and it didn't happen. So after that, I was like kind of like bummed out about not seeing it. So like I was really like pivoted of watching it, and ever since then, like I have never really thought about it. I see it time to time come up on HBO Max. I'm like, oh shit, I need to watch that, and then I just forget about it because I start watching Doom Patrol or Titans or something else, you know.
Right. But that's how it be, bro. But yeah, so it's just I'll just take everything on a case by case basis when it comes down to DC and how they handle stuff. I can't sit here and be excited for the future because I don't even know if anything in this future is going to be good. But I think you brought up something really cool, which I think is a perfect segue into our next discussion. You were talking about Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm recently started another division. You want to tell people about this, Gabe?
Oh, yes. Oh, well, we're going to get flagged here. Yeah, freaking dude, Lucas Games is back. Like all full circle, man. Like the other day they announced they had a rebranding. So first they had a rebranding. I thought that was kind of weird because it was out of no place. Like, oh yeah, like Lucas Games, we're rebranding. And I'm like, well, that's weird because like Lucas Games revolves around Lucas IPs, which Lucas IPs is more than just Star Wars.
Are you serious?
So I'm
what?
Like, no,
Are you sure?
Believe it or not,
what else?
man.
What else?
Believe it or not, we got the incredible Indiana Jones. You got Willow.
Indiana Jones. What isn't that? The last Indiana Jones movie I remember was back in the 80s, bro.
You don't remember the Crystal Skull?
They did what now? I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
You don't remember the Crystal Skull?
I am hella good on that, bro. Indiana Jones ended in 89 for me, my friend.
Bro, there's that pug ass scene where he gets there's this part where he there's a nuclear bomb going off and like he gets inside like a refrigerator and closes himself in it, right?
Please stop.
And like the nuclear bomb goes off and like it blows up, right? And he's inside the fridge, right? And so the fridge goes flying and everything else gets destroyed. This motherfucker, Indiana Jones, dude, pops out of the fridge unscathed, alive, no nuclear radiation. The man's a fucking goat, yo. If you haven't seen Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, y'all need to go see that shit because he comes out of that fridge alive, bro. This man, yo, we talking cockroaches, Twinkies. He took that shit on a whole nother level. Man's went inside a fridge and fucking lived, bro. Props to him, dude.
Why is it every decade you have a Rise of Skywalker movie where you just gotta sit here and oh my god. Oh, you know, we were starting this year on such a good note, Gabe. We really were. This might be the last sweaty cast of the year, you guys. I'm just letting you know because I could handle some stuff, but this man, all right, you know, God bless everybody. God bless everybody, man. God bless everybody, Gabe. Do you have the 4K version of that movie? I just need to know this.
I don't even think a 4K version exists.
I don't think so either. I'm going to look this up because that just, and if it's not available, we're probably due for it at some point. I don't even know. Did they release the original Indiana Jones movies on 4K? I don't think so.
Nope, they're not out. Coming 2021 March.
Oh, there we go. Because I still have the Complete Adventure. I have the Blu-ray one. So I'll probably... Is it
the Complete Adventure, though?
Yeah, it's the Complete Adventure.
And it's got all of them?
Yeah, it came with a fourth movie. I didn't know they made a fourth Indiana Jones movie, so apparently it has...
Oh, dude, so in the fourth movie, he gets in a fridge?
Oh! Everybody, should I block this dude, Gabe? I've known him for years, but I feel like anybody who can gleefully recite that scene from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I just...
Bro, how can you...
I don't know about this. We live in a society
Y'all,
Oh man,
y'all
you
remember that
just
sweet CGI swinging they did with Shia LaBeouf?
please stop. Please stop. That
Shit
whole, I
was
remember that. Remember the scene where he was on the two cars in that scene?
shit was crazy. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest with you, I've only seen that movie once.
for good
Oh,
reason. That's why.
bro.
Yo.
I'm on Google because I was trying to look at how much money it made, right? And I'm on looking through the facts. I'm like, oh, I was like, it's got a 95% Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, man, it wasn't really that bad. I scroll up and it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm like, oh, I'm on the wrong one.
Yo. But yeah, so anyway, Lucasfilm created a new
Yeah,
division
Lucasfilm.
called Lucasfilm Games. Oh my god, tell me about this for a second, Gabe, because it's weird because it's like a new thing, but at the same time, it's not new, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. So we had what LucasArts back in the day. You remember the little stick figure, and he'd come out with the lightsaber, and he'd swing
Yep.
around, or
Yep.
he would do something crazy. Each
Mm-hmm.
each game, he did something unique. Like thinking like the Lego Indiana Jones game, or Indiana Jones. One of the games got a whip and shit like that. So they are rebranding the whole Lucas division. And they are now going to be producing Lucas titles outside of, well, the only company that's been making anything close to Lucas properties has been EA. And if you want to count Star Wars The Old Republic, you can, but that's been around since before the Disney buyout. So I don't think I think they got grandfathered in. So I said, oh, it's EA too. So never mind. So either way, it's still EA. So I'm absolutely wrong on that one. So either way, it was EA before EA became the sole proprietor.
Yeah.
So now we are getting actual games from different studios, which is pretty awesome because growing up as a kid, I mean, everyone made a Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are really good, some of them are really bad, but we had them. And now it's like we got all these unannounced projects that are going to be announced. I do believe that with the new game being announced, the one from Ubisoft, as Chris likes to say, or Ubisoft.
I don't even know how to properly pronounce it. There's Ubisoft, Ubisoft, like Ubisoft. I just been saying Ubisoft, and sometimes I say Ubisoft. I go back and forth. I don't even know how it's pronounced, you guys. I'm sorry.
It's ultra soft.
It's ultra soft, yeah. Plus ultra, straight up. That's how we do it. But yeah, so we got two big game announcements. So the first one we can tackle real quick because there's not really much to know. Well, even though the second one we don't really know much about that either. But
I don't
at
know
least
about jack shit on either.
we don't. I don't know why I tried to think we knew more about one versus the other, but we got
do clickbait and be like, we got inside sources from Kathleen Kennedy herself.
Yep, I actually got this insider tip from a crazy Star Wars fan with all these other numbers. that's our inside source. But since we're on the topic of Star Wars, we got a brand new Star Wars game in development with Ubisoft, specifically their what's their team called? Motive or something like that.
Motive, yeah.
Motive. They're the guys who worked on The Division. They're working on an open world, single player focused Star Wars game. So,
is it single player focused?
Yeah, they said story driven. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just making sure, because story driven can be provocative.
Please don't. Let's not let them have new ways to change what story driven means.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll be honest with you because I'm a simp for Star Wars.
Someone says it's massive entertainment. That's what Nathaniel says.
Oh, massive entertainment.
Okay, I don't know why I thought Motive. Wait, did it? Motive? They did Squadron. They did Squadron, right?
Yeah, they did Squadron, and they did the CGI work for Battlefront 2. That's what it is. I'm thinking. See, that's the problem. When you got Star Wars stuck to one entity, you only know that entity's names.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of a simp. Thought about how we gonna get a division but Star Wars like sign Gabe up. I'm a simp for Star Wars. I thought about it. I was like, man, if I had a third person Destiny-esque like game, but then I thought about it and I was like, man, maybe I don't really want a division clone with Star Wars. But hey, if it is they said it's an open world game. I don't know what style it's gonna be. But either way, I am Pog AF. I keep seeing memes about Assassin's Creed via Star Wars, which, hey, that could work, but I doubt it's going to be anything like that. It's probably going to be a shooting based game.
Honestly, like I'm excited. I'm excited for a multitude of reasons. Now, I'm not excited that it's an Ubisoft developed game, even though I do want to give them, even though I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But this is only me. I can only speak for myself, but I am not a fan of Ubisoft's take on modern game development, where for the most part, a lot of their games, save for a couple, they just seem to be the same experience with a different coat of paint. So you have Assassin's Creed, then you have Watch Dogs, which is like futuristic Assassin's Creed, then you have Far Cry, which is out in the freaking bungalow of the jungles Assassin's Creed, and all these games, they have the same objectives, the same bland ass side missions, the same this, same that, except different coat of paint. And if you like it, by all means, I'm not saying you can't, but for me, if that Star Wars game comes out and the only reason I'm playing it is because it's Star Wars and not that it's a great game, I think I'm going to be depressed, because Ubisoft games to me, they make serviceable experiences. Every now and then they put out a banger one, but I don't think anyone ends off a game of the generation list and they've had anything in the past couple of years. You know, the last Ubisoft game that I was just like, yo, this is like game of the generation material was
Far Cry 3.
No. Actually, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I love the Black Flag. I love the Black Flag. But other than that, it's like you had some cool stuff in between. Like I liked Syndicate a lot. You know, I know you said you were a big fan of Origin.
I love Origin. That's Assassin's Creed done right, personally. That's Assassin's Creed. Shout out to the black people.
There we go. Straight up. We appreciate you, brother. All 2% of your blackness.
Thank you.
But you know, at the end of the day, I mean, the fact that they said it's single player focused does give me a little hope, because the last thing I want is just a Division clone where you're just running around and everyone is a freaking bullet sponge for no reason.
See, like, I think the only reason Division gets away with it is because it's supposed to be like, you know, this Destiny competition. It was supposed to be, I mean, essentially it is Destiny. It's third person Destiny. Let's just be honest. Like, I played a lot of Division 1. I played a ton of Division 2. It's just third person Destiny with a pandemic theme. Ironic. Now I think about it, the world did become the Division 2. Now I'm thinking about it, because I mean the first mission.
It literally, bro. I'm telling you, it was ahead of its time.
Now I'm thinking about it. The first mission of Division 2 is you storming the Capitol.
They knew. Ubisoft, stay woke. They woke to this shit. Oh man. Shit. But who knows? The reason why I have some hope is because of two factors. Number one, I think that whatever this game ends up being, I want to say that Lucasfilm, they have more of a vested interest in making sure that this is a success. And the reason why I say that is, I think after the Battlefront 2 debacle, I think Lucasfilm was like, wait a minute, let's just be careful about who we give out the Star Wars IP to, because we can't let this brand be damaged. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lucasfilm, when they were looking to other partners, they were like, bring us your best pitch and tell us everything about it. I don't think they just want to go with an established name for the sake of being an established name anymore. Because you look at EA, and to the like for gamers, most gamers hate EA. But if you look at the outside perspective and all you see are the numbers, EA games perform very well year over year. There's growth, blah, blah, blah. You know, the whole business metrics they use. But I think they want this to be a big deal and something they can build a brand in and of itself. So depending on whatever this game ends up being, we'll just have to take it for what it is. Maybe it could be, they could pull a Guerrilla where you think it's going to be something like Killzone, and then they surprise us with Horizon, you know?
Yeah, that's true. You know, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, because they did say there's going to be more projects they're going to be announcing over the course of this year. I would not be surprised if Ubisoft is not the only studio. And I know we mentioned Indiana Jones. But as far as the Star Wars IP, or hell, throw a curveball at me, another studio making another Lucasfilm property game. But I'm sure more or less Star Wars is the focus. I would not be surprised if we get another studio relatively soon doing another announcement of a Star Wars property, because with them bounding back to Lucas Arts, or now they're Lucasfilm Games, with them bounding back to that, there's definitely some sharks in the water that they're feeding. Like they may not be talking about it, but there's definitely another developer out there right now outside of EA that is making another Star Wars game. And I mean, because let's face it, if you only have one developer, I mean, let's be real here. EA's only produced how many Star Wars games? Like four.
Battlefront 1, which we don't really count because that's not even a game. Battlefront 2, Squadrons, and Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay, 4. Sorry, I forgot about those.
And out of those, the only one to come out, I used to say Jedi Fallen Order was like their first bona fide success across the board, but even then, that's a very niche game when you think about it. You know, it only caters to the people who like challenging experiences. Like, there's people out there I know who are big Star Wars fans, but they say, "Yo, I heard that's like Dark Souls. I can't."
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know quite a few people who are like, "Yo, I would love to play Fallen Order, but the Dark Souls combat, that shit ain't for me." And I agree. It's a complete niche gameplay, because there's some people who just straight. I know there's a couple people out there I know for a fact who they'd rather take dick in the booty than play a Dark Souls game. Like, I straight up, I know there's some people who I have this friend named Nate, bro. He came over to my house like in high school to come. I was like, come over. I was like, I got this really hard game. It's called Dark Souls. I had that man play it, bro. Man. And he was like, this man, not even kidding, straight up 0 to 100 within like the first 30 seconds. First, he's making his character, and he's like, I don't even know what the fuck these stats are or what I'm doing with my guy. And we're a bunch of World of Warcraft nerds, so like RPGs aren't really like, we're not really like foreign to RPGs. But Dark Souls is so unique in that style of gameplay. So first off, he's already pissed off about it. And then the beginning of Dark Souls 1, what's the weapon that you're running around with?
Oh
the
my
fucking
God.
broken sword hilt. Dude, that man was just fucking livid. He was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm running around in the goddamn streets of London beating the hell out of undead. And I'm like, I don't know where you got streets of London from. But he's like running around. And dude, that man was done. And then you go to the first boss, and it's this big gelatinous blob that you have to fight in that room. And he didn't know you weren't supposed to fight it. And mindful, I didn't tell him. So I guess I kind of played devil's advocate here and didn't really say anything. So I just watched this man just get creamed by that boss over and over again until he figured I had to leave. After that moment, dude, it's been, what was it, 2010, 11? So it's been 10 years. That man will never touch another Dark Souls game. Like, he even mentioned how Jedi Fallen Order looked cool, but he's like, but I don't know about that Souls gameplay, bro.
Damn.
We're talking 10 years ago, bro. We were straight up 16, 15, 17 in that category. We're now 26 and 27, bro. That man will never touch another Dark Souls game. So I completely respect and understand why it's a niche style gameplay. I suck at those games. Like Jedi Fallen Order, I don't know what took over me, probably because there is kind of a difficulty slider, even though I cranked that shit up. But I platinum Fallen Order, and I don't know if it was just because it was a Star Wars game or whatnot, but that game was absolutely amazing. I think it was the story. I think it was the post Order 66, because I know you've only played, I don't know how much you played.
So
but
I am okay. So I just left Kashyyyk, and I'm where the
first time or second time?
First time. I just got to the Star Destroyer.
Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. I saw your
bro.
screen.
That's a big level, dude.
Yeah,
like, I was playing. I was like, I'm going this way, and I look at the map, and it's like, Whoa, I was overwhelmed by that, dude.
Yeah, that whole area gets insane, bro. Like it goes like you once you unlock the capability to swim underwater, that unlocks a whole nother part of the map. Like there's just so much to that map, especially as you get more of your force unlocks. But yeah, so I don't know how much you play, but the story in that game really intrigued me, especially like I was saying, like anything post Order 66.
Yes.
I really like. And when I say post Order 66, I don't mean everything after Order 66. I get it. There's everything happens after Order 66, but that time period where the galaxy is still in this kind of recovery phase where there's people who don't really care, there's the Empire taking over, then there's the people who lived it. You know, Cal Castius is, you know, it's only, if I remember correctly, it's only been like 5 or 6 years, like I think the time. So it's probably one of the closest to Revenge of the Sith style games or literature we have outside of comics. But I always enjoy those aspects to the story because I think that time period is very important and crucial in Star Wars, and I feel like it really expands upon the pain and threat of the Empire. So the story alone for Fallen Order really had me intrigued, especially because I watched Rebels, and since the game includes the Inquisitors,
yes,
I thought that was always a neat, unique feeling because you know the numbers of the Inquisitors from the Rebels series, and we don't really get to meet all of them. You meet a couple of them in the comics. One of the Inquisitors in the game, the big reptile one, she was in one of the comics because they even included a neat feature where she gets her foot cut off in the comic, and then Fallen Order, she has a robot foot. So it's kind of a cool little niche tie-in. So, you know, as far as Jedi Fallen Order, I think that was probably one of like the best, at least story additions to the post Order 66 era that we've gotten to actually play. So for me, I think that was really my motive of beating it. Because let me tell you, dude, I know for a fact I've got my cheeks fucking clapped in that game, bro. Yep. Fucking clapped. Like there's times where I was like, man, should I just put this shit on easy? And then I was like, man, but I can't do that to myself. Nope. I mean, I could have.
You got to power through it. You got to
power through it, man. But yeah, like Fallen Order, fantastic game. But wow, go way off fucking track. But yeah, I mean, as far as you know, like you're saying, the games, that being a niche style of game, and you know, Squadrons, which Squadrons did pretty well. I mean, partially because it was Battlefront 2's Starfighter pilot mode, but more advanced, and I had a $40 price tag, so you couldn't really complain.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they did great with that.
And the fact that they're now adding content to it, even though they said they weren't going to, but the sales on it were so high, and the fan support behind it was so big. I mean, they just added the B-Wing, and they added the TIE. I'm drawing a brain dead. The one from Rebels, the one with the 3 wings and the shield generator. Yeah. They added that one to the game too. So, you know, outside of that, you know, I really do miss the era of when anybody was making a Star Wars game. Like, you know, did I have a problem with EA making Star Wars games? Yes or no? Yeah, I mean, yes or no? Yes and no. There are some things I didn't like Battlefront 1. I was in the developer alpha for Battlefront 1, like way before the game came out. I got into this contest. I got picked out of it, and I was able to play Battlefront 1 like a whole year before the game came out. Oh, wow. And the only map they had was Hoth. And dude, I was hyped as fuck for it. Like that game was like, man, this is everything I want. And it was very bare bones. Like this was before the power-ups and everything else. But I was super hyped for it. Then Battlefront 1 came out, and I played the fuck out of it, and that hypeness kind of died, along with me dying of playing Battlefront 1 because telling you, man, you can't make multiplayer games and restrict the groups by adding map packs. That does not work anymore.
It ain't 2009 anymore.
Yeah, and years ago might have worked then, and honestly, it didn't really work then there either. But it's not that time period anymore. You can't restrict communities anymore. It doesn't make the money. So them adding these $20 map packs really sucks, especially because there wasn't really any maps on Battlefront 1 to begin with. So Battlefront 1, very great, exciting first time experience, quickly turned into the. And then you have Battlefront 2, which I was all aboard Battlefront 2. If y'all know me or heard me, I always fanboyed the shit out of Battlefront 2. I defended Battlefront 2 just because I played and stayed around all the news. Like, yeah, I thought it was pretty scummy that, they did the whole loot crate microtransactions. Your progression is hidden behind that. But the fact that they swapped and stopped that whole progression before the game even launched was great on them, because crystals never made it to the game. Like, crystals are in game now. If you do achievements, they don't really do anything. They're more or less like you buy a skin with them. But the whole progression of paying for upgrades never made it to the game. But unfortunately, because management behind EA isn't too smart, they already had this whole system implemented into the game. So the game, unfortunately, was going to have to launch unless they did a delay, which, it's EA. They're not going to do delay. So the game launched with that system, and what they did was you logged on, you got like a bunch of crates for free, and then they added this thing called scrap, which is you could craft your own cards instead of having to draw them, which kind of worked because they didn't really have any other system at the time. And then 3 months later, they came out with the new progression system, which is what's in the game right now. But unfortunately, it was already too late, because you had the loot boxes, you had the dumb thing of the heroes. The heroes, you had to spend credits to unlock them. So yeah, you want to play Darth Vader, you got to grind 10,000 credits. Made no sense. It suffers so much bad controversy in the game, which I will admit it does and doesn't deserve. It does deserve the harsh feelings, but I feel like their feedback of adjusting it and changing it so quickly was very overlooked, because the game right now is a masterpiece. It's amazing. Like, especially right now, it's free on Epic Games.
Epic Games Store. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, because you've noticed this. I didn't play Battlefront 2 until this past year, back in the summer of 2020. I was like, it's $10 for all the DLC in the game. Let me try it out. And yes, it's an amazing game. Like, what Gabe is saying is true. There's so much content to it. It's got a great community. It's awesome. Now, it sucks that it took them a long time to get to that point, but I think that was more publisher intervention rather than DICE wanting to screw people over, because that's just the nature of the business with EA. But the interesting thing about this situation is that EA doesn't have the exclusive rights to Star Wars anymore. It seems like their deal is going to be lapsing in 2023, because they signed this deal, I believe, back in either it was 2012 or 2013. I remember we got our first tease for Battlefront around that time.
2014 is when we got our first Battlefront tease.
Yeah, so they signed the deal in 2013, 10-year exclusivity to do that stuff. But obviously, considering that's only 2 years out, they've also been shopping around to other studios to work on more games in the future. I definitely do think that the reason why they were able to announce something with Ubisoft, even though it's not going to release optimistically until 2023, is because they probably worked out some stipulation with EA back what's it called? When Battlefront 2 had its debacle, where it's like, listen, you can still make Star Wars games with us, but further down the road, we are going to get other studios, and we are not going to renew this deal, which is why I think EA has been actively working on more stuff. So obviously, we know Jedi Fallen Order 2 is a thing. Like, it's going to happen. That game, the numbers that game did is absolutely insane. And it was definitely a wake-up call to people in the industry that sometimes all you need to do is release a great single-player focused narrative, and people will eat that shit up in droves. So they're probably doing that. They probably have a couple smaller pet projects here and there. I would love to see more games like Squadron. Not necessarily games like Squadron, but games in that style where they take one aspect from the Star Wars universe and they run with it. So maybe a combat focused lightsaber dueling game. That would be pretty dope.
I would like that.
But now there's so many more possibilities because we're not limited to just EA, which I think long term is what's going to be best for Star Wars, because now you can get developers from all over the world. Like, could you imagine if, let's just say, Atlas worked on a Star Wars game in the style of Persona, where you have these confidants, relationships, you have JRPG combat. I mean, that's not a game that I need in my life, because I already love Atlas, and you add in Star Wars, I might never play another game again. I'm just being for real, you guys.
Crispy down there hitting it off with some hut ladies, and
no, listen, not even when I'm six drinks in, not even when I'm do not slander me.
He was hitting up the youngins and all that shit. He's be like, yeah, you so sexy, all that stuff, Crispy diving in the romance. Yeah, like I'm pretty excited because it sucks because if you think about it, a lot of really good games have came out in between that time of this exclusivity to what we're 2021, so almost at the end of it. So we've had a lot of really great games that have come out over that time, and we've had a lot of developers come out with a lot of really unique games that we weren't expecting. So it's it kind of sucks because it's this whole 10-year gap, we could have gotten a good amount of decent Star Wars games, because back in the day, only anybody made a Star Wars game.
Dude, from KOTOR, from KOTOR to Jedi Academy. You had the pod racing games on the N64. You had the Revenge of the Sith game was fucking fire. I still have that on Xbox, bro. That game
was fucking juicy, man.
Yes.
Movie games were one thing, man, but sometimes they did those games so right, and Revenge of the Sith was definitely one. The duels in that game were so fucking good. Like that's what I thought of when you talked about a Jedi lightsaber combat style game. I thought of Revenge of the Sith, how their duels went, because they went from that traditional hack and slash with all your abilities, and then when you got to the 1v1 duels, it turned into this crazy combat scenario.
Dude, and that's what gets me so excited, because now we can see all those games and not have to worry about trying to fit into some niche that, we want a Star Wars game, but we want it to be just action focused. No, let Obsidian work on KOTOR again. I love what they did with the second KOTOR. Dude, I love the second KOTOR game more than the first, if only because that game was dark as fuck, bro.
The second one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. That whole storyline from all the Sith in that game, there's just some sort of twisted story to all of them, from Nihilus to Talia to Scion to all three of those guys. One's a girl, but those three, Musketeers. Yeah. They all of them have this crazy dark story to them. That whole game's just got this theme to it. That game was amazing. I actually bought that game recently on Steam for $2. It was on the summer sale, or winter sale. But I would love that. Dude, imagine this. So, how Knights of the Old Republic was on the Xbox?
Yes.
The first one was only on the Xbox and PC.
I still have my copy somewhere. Yeah.
Do you really?
I still have it somewhere. It's what it was, bro? I didn't even buy that game when it came out, because around that time I was into Star Wars, but not as much, because by that point we had the 2 prequel movies. I watched those, and as a kid, I couldn't vibe with them at all. So I didn't really play a lot of Star Wars games back then, give or take 1 or 2. But I will never forget my dad. He was just so weird about things. He just came home with an Xbox for some reason. I don't know why. He just came home with an Xbox, I guess because it was the new hot thing. I still to this day do not understand how we had an OG Xbox in this house. I don't get it. But he came home with that. I think because he bought it at Costco.
Moneybags dad back in the day.
He just came home with an Xbox, and it had a copy of KOTOR. No, it had KOTOR, the first KOTOR, and it had Revenge of the Sith. Both for Xbox.
Oh, hype.
And I was confused because I was like, why do we have this? But I didn't care. I played that first KOTOR, bro, and it was because already in my mind, I'd played JRPGs, I'd played Chrono Trigger, I played Final Fantasy, I played Kingdom Hearts, but KOTOR to me was like the best of the West. Because back then it was kind of hard for us when we were really young to play those Western RPGs, because it's not like it was really pushed as much as other games. Everyone who I know who played Western RPGs at that point, they were much older than me. Like, these were in my age. For my age, I was, when I played those games, I was like 12, probably around that time.
For KOTOR?
I want to say KOTOR. No. I was 12 when I played KOTOR, 13 when I played Revenge of the Sith, because that's when the game came out. And I'll never forget, because the only other person I knew who had played other games, like, I didn't know what it was at the time, but this guy kept saying Winter Sun something. Little did I know years later, he's talking about Neverwinter Nights, that game. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Neverwinter Nights, the D&D game.
Yeah,
the D&D universe. Yeah.
So all those games, but KOTOR was like my first foray into like Western RPGs, and I ended up loving that game. Loved the sequel, and I to this day, I don't understand how nobody has taken that formula and given us a modern KOTOR. Like,
I'm surprised that hasn't even been remade, dude, or even like let alone remastered.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised, dude. You know what would be a beautiful full circle is, KOTOR came out on the Xbox. You know how amazing if we got, KOTOR for the Series X as an exclusive. But as like a remake, remaster, sequel, you fucking throw the ball out there. But if we just got a Knights of the Old Republic style game like that, but just for the Series X, that'd be quite a beautiful fucking circle right there, man.
Dude, it seriously will. And now we have the opportunity to see something like that happen. I'm not saying it will, but I'm also not saying it won't, because there is a possibility, and that's what I'm excited. But Gabe, speaking of random things coming out of left field that nobody knew or saw coming, Indiana Jones, bro.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones. We started with this and we got segued into Star Wars, which is how it always happens, guys. That's why we have the Star Wars aesthetic, because guarantee you, if we don't talk about Star Wars, we're going to find a way to talk about Star Wars. If there are no topics about Star Wars, we will talk about Star Wars. But Indiana Jones being developed by
Star Wars.
Yeah, right. Indiana Jones being developed by Machine Games. Of course, this is the studio who gave us the recent Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, the New Order. They also gave us the DLC, that came out, Youngblood, right? So they've done a lot of games. Some better than others, but them working on Indiana Jones completely out of left field. But I'm excited. We don't know anything about this. We don't know when it's coming out, but it is being developed by this studio. And hey, at the very least, it's going to be interesting what we see come from this, man.
Like, I'm trying to, with them announcing it, I'm really trying to get an image of, what are they going to be, what is this game? Like, I'm like, I'm trying to think of like Uncharted, which like, I don't know why. Anytime like an adventure game comes down to this that involves, artifacts and bad guys, I always go down to Uncharted and Tomb Raider. But I mean, that's where a lot of these aesthetics, base themselves off of, right? With Indiana Jones. So
the
like
original OG, yeah.
I'm really wondering, like, are we going to get a point A to point B style game? Are we going to get like a Mad Max style game where it's an open world game? Are we getting, just a rich story driven game with open world elements, kind of God of War? Like, there's so many things that I'm like wondering, like, what are we going to be? I mean, considering the fact it's the Wolfenstein developers, but like now I don't even think like putting this perspective even matters, because everyone changes the game and wants to do something new. And I'm like, oh, maybe they'll just do it like Wolfenstein, but like everyone else always changes it up. So like, whenever they do a new project, like for example, like Horizon Zero Dawn, they went to an open world game, the same exact thing can happen to Indiana Jones, because it could be a passion project. But
yeah,
I'm very stoked for it, and I really wonder how far along it is, or if it even is along at all. I mean, we got a teaser out of it. It's not saying much, because like Chris likes to say, "Don't give me those teasers or little trailers. I want a gameplay."
Yep. Oh man, yeah. So I don't, because the way they worded it out, it seems to me like they have a lot of deals that are in place these games are being worked on. But optimistically, you guys, I don't see these things coming out for 2 years minimum. Realistically, for that Star Wars game, probably 3 years. Who knows? But then you factor in COVID on top of that, and that's already throwing a wrench in a lot of games that we thought were close to completion, but now they're getting pushed back even further. So, yeah, all I could do is just get excited at the possibilities of what could come from this. The other fact, which has prompted a lot of people, this is what people have been talking about more, considering I guess this is more interesting in the fact that we know more about this than we do the game. This game might end up being exclusive, bunny ears quotations, to the Xbox ecosystem. So there's a lot of reasons why people are thinking this. Now, like I said, I like to play devil's advocate for everything. I have a lot of good reasons why I think this should be exclusive and why realistically I think it might not be. So we might as well just do a little bit of back and forth. And if you want, you could chime in. If I say something for exclusives, Absolutely. You can say it against it. But my one reason why I think that this game potentially might be exclusive, if you look at social media, the promotion of this game, who's been the one retweeting and talking about it outside of Lucasfilm and outside of Machine Games?
Xbox.
Right. PlayStation hasn't even said anything about this at all, which I find very weird. Because if this was, because this is a big project, like people have wanted studios to work on licensed properties for a long time. For them not to say anything about this, I'm not saying anything, considering they didn't announce any platforms for this Indiana Jones game. So maybe they're waiting to sign the deals. But for Xbox to go and tweet that, it leads me to believe that if it's not fully exclusive to the Xbox PC ecosystem, at the very least, Microsoft has got a really big timed exclusivity for this game. I'm not talking about 6 months. I'm talking about maybe a year plus. What about you? What's your next point, whether it is exclusive or it's not exclusive?
Well, I'm going to go ahead. And the thing is, when they first announced it, I instantly thought exclusive because of who's behind it, Bethesda. And my main reason is because the deal isn't, here's the thing. So that deal isn't brokered in until this year, until they pass all, the monopoly, yada, 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 fraud, make sure there's no foul play, So they cannot legally say that this is going to be exclusive. Just like they cannot legally say that Elder Scrolls is going to be on only Xbox, and they cannot legally say. They could say that, in the future, these titles might be only on Xbox. They could say that because that's not a legality. That's just them talking. That they're not saying for sure. They're just, discussing the future what ifs. So my guess is the reason why there hasn't been any talks about it is because I'm going to go ahead and say this game's already been started somewhat in production, whether it's probably already in development, honestly. Maybe not super far in, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's already been in development for maybe a couple months, maybe less, or even maybe the last end of the year. Because for them to give us a little teaser like that, I'm not saying that means anything, but usually most of the time when they announce like a game, they don't really have like a little cinematic teaser to really, say anything. But if I want to be my guess, it's going to be an Xbox Series X exclusive, straight up and down. When that deal signs over and everything's transitioned over and the smoke and dust is clear, I guarantee you that. So right now in-house, it's probably being developed on Xbox Architect. It's probably already being, focused on how can we make this run the best on Xbox. It's probably everything right now behind closed doors is probably, saying how is this going to work on Xbox the best. Personally, I honestly do think it's going to be a Series X exclusive, mainly because one, Xbox needs games. And I know that seems to be a controversial statement nowadays because it's like, well, exclusives are bad, but Xbox needs exclusives. And that never makes any fucking sense to me. But so, I mean, I honestly, outside of, from inside the closed doors, it's probably going to be a Series X exclusive. I guarantee you, once that deal finishes later this year, and they start talking about like the future of like Microsoft and Bethesda together, it's going to be 100% a Series X exclusive. Might be on the PC. Can I count on it? I mean, I want to say yes, but
I think it is. Xbox has gone away with doing exclusives for consoles. Right now, it's all about, we don't care about where you play it so long as it's in our ecosystem, which is console, PC, and then long-term streaming. Because I think it's going to get to the point where if they can get xCloud, because Phil Spencer has spoken about the idea of maybe xCloud being on like TVs and stuff. It's going to get to the point where, if you can just sync up a controller to it, and that's where they want you to play the game, which makes a lot of sense. But like you said, there's definitely some red tape, and they don't want to end up in a situation where they say it's exclusive and then they have egg on their face. But when you see some of the signs, like the fact that PlayStation hasn't said anything, how Xbox is very gung-ho about retweeting it, even though they...
I'm gonna be honest, I doubt if they really have focused on like the Xbox version, I doubt they've even spoken to, or even anything's been even breached behind like Sony doors. Like I honestly, like you said, like I all the signs are really saying it's probably going to be on Xbox.
Right. And there is one point outside of the whole contract stipulations that I think it might end up being multiplat. And this is another reason I think.
Oh.
I mean, and it makes sense the second I tell you this.
Okay.
The mouse. The mouse.
Oh, House of Mouse. Got it. Okay.
Part of me likes to think that if this game is going to be multiplat, it's going to be because of Disney, and who owns Lucasfilm Games? Disney does. So for them, it's all about maximum profits everywhere you could think of. And PlayStation is a very lucrative platform. So unless they really, like even before the deal was signed for Microsoft to buy Bethesda, unless there was a really lucrative deal between Machine Games, Xbox, and Disney to make it an Xbox exclusive, I don't think it's going to happen. But I would say, if I had to pick and choose today, if I wanted this multiplayer exclusive, I want this exclusive. So finally Xbox can have games where people go, damn, I want to get an Xbox to play that. Because what's been the biggest problem Xbox has faced for the entire last 10 years? Xbox ain't got no games. No games, that like blah blah. And now the second that people are thinking this might be exclusive, oh no, it should be multiplayer. It should be multiplayer.
I hear that, yeah.
Like people, they gotta make up their minds. Either they say exclusives are cool, hate multiplats, or they love multiplats and they say they hate exclusives. Like y'all gotta pick a side, because I'll just be flip flopping. I don't get it.
Right? Like I never understand that. They like, oh, exclusives are bad, but Xbox needs more exclusives. Like that argument always blows my mind. I really think it's going to be at least an Xbox exclusive, mainly because I just feel like that House of Mouse and Xbox have been doing a lot of things lately.
They have. They teamed up with Disney Plus to give away a month free. There's a whole bunch of other stuff as well. But yeah, I would not be surprised.
You got the Mandalorian Xbox controllers. I know it's just a controller, but that's a collaboration. Yeah. You got what was it, Jedi Fallen Order on Game Pass, which I don't know if that really counts because it's the EA title. But
I don't know. It's looking. It's going to be interesting either way to see what happens with this. But if anything, I think once this deal closes in the next at this point, it's just the next couple of weeks, because I think they said March.
Yeah, they said March. It was supposed to be March is when they can officially, once it passes through to make sure there's no foul play or any kind of like
regulatory systems and all that.
Yeah, make sure there's not a monopoly. Then everything's officially signed over. They own Todd Howard and all his assets.
So that's going to be fun, you guys. I think come March, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the first tweets from Xbox is, here's what's exclusive and here's what's not exclusive.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. Because like they did not spend all that money to not have exclusives. I know PlayStation players really get upset when people hear this, and it's true though. They did not spend billions of dollars, just like PlayStation doesn't buy these companies to just have them make games. They did not buy Insomniac to make Spider-Man for the Xbox. You know, they did not buy all these studios, you know, and partnerships, you know, to have their titles be on other platforms. And while the argument is yes, it can probably sell more as multi-plat, at the end of the day, they are trying to sell consoles, not games.
That's a fact. And when I first heard the news, I was thinking like, yeah, you know, some games will be exclusive, some will be multi-plat, some will be ongoing. Like I thought there was a healthy room for diversity, which I think it is true for any of their ongoing games. Like obviously Elder Scrolls Online is going to remain multi-plat and get support, just like Minecraft is multi-plat and gets support across everything. But I think for some of the single player stuff going forward, a lot of that stuff is going to be available on Xbox first. Now, if it's a smaller property, a smaller title, they might bring it over to the Switch and heck, maybe PlayStation. But if they come out and the only differentiating factor between Starfield, like let's just say Starfield comes out and it's on every platform, like PlayStation, Xbox, PC. The only benefit that I think Microsoft can really run with is if they release it on Game Pass day and date. That's great because that's a $70 game that you can get for paying $15 a month. That is awesome. Yeah, and long term you start thinking like these games, they are going to add up in price. So Game Pass could be that differentiating factor on why somebody chooses to game on Xbox. But here's the thing, Gabe. I don't think that's enough. Like, yeah, that's great that it's on Game Pass and I don't got to play. But at the end of the day, if it's, let's say, a multiplayer-focused game and all my homies have it on PlayStation or PC and there's no crossplay, I'm going to go where they're playing it. And if the majority of people playing it is on PlayStation, I'm going to get it on PlayStation. Yes, Microsoft is still going to make money off that, but that's not fun. Like, how the hell you spend $8 billion to acquire something just to get, like, 8% of it being sold on PlayStation? I don't, nah.
No, like, honestly, dude, Elder Scrolls is, I really see it being a Series X exclusive. That would bring in so much financial gain to Team Xbox. Like you telling me that the guy who's been writing Skyrim for the last 10 years and bought it every time it's came out, and that they're not going to want to switch. I mean, maybe they won't. Maybe that's the last time they ever play an Elder Scrolls property for, you know, for as long as we know. But I'm telling you, like, these, you know, grab them by the ropes and, you know, force them to drink that bucket of water is definitely, you know, the strategy they definitely need to go towards. And if making these IPs unique to the Xbox platform is the way to do it, then by all means, you know, I hope that's the way they do it, because man, dude, like they, I don't know, man, they really need to keep all that shit to, like, to themselves, honestly. Like, because that's the problem. And it goes back to it. It's like, yeah, we'd like to see it be on multi-plat, but if they don't start somewhere on this exclusivity, then it's just going to be an endless cycle, and they ain't spending this money. Because I guarantee you, if it is a exclusive to the X for Indiana, that there's definitely some sort of financial gain bargain that they've done with House of Mouse, which, you know, wouldn't surprise me. Microsoft and Disney collabing together, like, you got two giant multi-billion-dollar companies collabing together. Like, there's so much they could get off of that, you know, like, because, you know, Disney is all about merchandising. Xbox, fucking Microsoft, you know, they merchandise everything, bro. You see those controllers that come out, man, dude, and everything else with them. Like, could you imagine an Indiana Jones Series X? Like,
bro, I'm just picturing all those custom Series X designs, because the console is built perfect for that. It's very simple and it's aesthetic, but you can do so much. Like, I can't wait to see the variants, man. I really can't. Oh my god.
Like, I'm telling you, bro, it has to. They they need those big montings to
big
move up.
monting. Yeah.
Because, bro, like it's funny because like we always like flip flop on it because we go back to like saying like, oh yeah, you know, I would like to be multi-plat because we think of their perspective because it's been so long since like Xbox has actually had an exclusive. So it's kind of like in a way we're just kind of like used to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I would love for this to be on everything. Oh, look, Xbox is making this. Well, it'll probably be on these 8 million other things too.
Yeah.
But now we're actually in, you know, the end game
Literally.
of literally of exclusivity because it's like, man, now they're pumping it out, and it just sucks that we have to wait so long for any of this stuff to come, man.
Yeah, it is going to be rough because, and that's the unfortunate thing when you work in these entertainment industries, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. So when they're announcing something, that's come from months, potentially years of them trying to figure out what this is, and you hope to God from announcement to when you actually have it in your hands, it lives up to all those expectations. But yeah, I like right now it's going to be very rough. And I said this when the console launched. I said it's going to be very rough over the next year or two because all this stuff that they've announced minimum ain't coming out till 2022 late at the earliest because, you know, the situation. COVID. And now COVID, now that stuff, you have to start thinking 2023. So it is going to be rough for the next couple of years of Xbox.
Bro,
it's going to be rough. It is.
Yeah, like, dude, it's crazy how much it really does like impact everything because, you know, you think of like COVID, you don't think of how much it like it evolves day to day personal reaction. Like, bro, like I didn't even know it affected the comic books releases for me. Like when I was trying to buy like Star Wars: The High Republic, like prior to all this, I never realized that got pushed back so like farther out because of COVID. Like, you know, like I really just got this in the mail you know, forever ago. You know, I had to read the digital version before the physical version. So, you know, it's definitely going to be interesting. Like now I'm really, really thinking about it. Like, so if we were to factor in, okay, these titles just got started, you know, and then we add in COVID, do we like push like all our speculations back by like an extra year then?
So I've been doing, so it started off me going like 6 months, but now I've bumped that up to 8 months just to be safe. Like that Harry Potter game that was supposed to come out at the end of the year. They didn't even wait until it was like 3 months out to delay. They just said, nah, it's coming in 2022, probably the spring. But that's good because we didn't have to go the whole year thinking this game's coming out. So thankfully, if they know they need some more time, that's good. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath for anything. So if says...
I will say this, for Hogwarts Legacy, I'm not trying to put my tinfoil hat on.
Go ahead, put it on. Put it on, bro.
Right,
strap it in. Put your little buckle.
All right. So, who's the publisher of Hogwarts Legacy?
Isn't it WB?
Yeah. Who is the publisher of Cyberpunk?
Isn't it WB in the States? Yeah. In the States.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I may be putting my tinfoil hat on, bro. But I'm not saying it, but I'm saying it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm pretty sure because of the whole cyberpunk like funk. Wasn't trying to rhyme there.
There you go.
Cyberpunk funk, man.
Yeah.
Get that hashtag out there. Cyberpunk funk.
They funked it up, guys. They funked it up.
I wouldn't be surprised if Warner Brothers was like, yeah, fuck that. This is being delayed. Like, I would not doubt they did not want a Cyberpunk 2 on their hands.
No,
like,
absolutely.
Personally.
Yeah. And I think because for them, they don't put out a lot of games. So what they rely on is just a lot of their licensed stuff. So Mortal Kombat does very well for them. DC, I mean, when they put out games, so like right now they have Gotham Knights coming out. They have Suicide Squad, which is 2022, maybe 2023. Yeah. And then so they were gonna have two big games this year: Gotham Knights and Hogwarts Legacy. But I think they were banking more on Hogwarts Legacy, considering it's Harry Potter, and this has been a game I've been dreaming of since I was a kid. So I think even they know that they got to get this shit right, bro. They can't afford for this shit to flop, because, bro. No. If they have 2 years in a row where they have a cyberpunk like game, oh no.
I didn't know this, but Back for Blood is by is Warner Brothers is the publisher too.
Yeah, and that's coming out, I believe, June, right?
Yes, the 22nd. If
everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, if everything goes all a part of the plan.
Yes.
As a Darth Maul would say.
Yep.
Yeah, if it sticks to the plan, then yeah. Man, dude, I'm looking at like DC's game list and it's actually kind of depressing.
What do they got coming out?
Nothing, but like if you scroll up, I mean, if you scroll up, it's like even the list of it's really nothing. So if you go up, you got Hogwarts Legacy 2022. You got Suicide Squad, like you said, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
You got Back for Blood 2021. You got Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga 2021.
I know a lot of people are excited for that one. Bro.
I'm excited for that too, bro.
Yeah.
It's dude, it's like just, maybe nostalgia hype, and I'm also a simp for Star Wars because you know what? Star Wars to me is like having a girlfriend you're really in love with. Like you wake up to her and she got that pimple growing on her face. She ain't wearing no makeup. She got that bad morning breath. But you know what? You in love with her, so she looked like a goddess. That's how Star Wars is to me. Star Wars, even when it's ugly and it looking like a mess. It looking like the last girl at the club.
Jesus, bro. Oh God, you're being very specific about this. Very specific.
It's still a snack. Let's put it that.
Oh, I don't know. Listen, that's all you, bro. That's all you. Listen, if you want to be in the club 16 drinks in and you look at something and look appealing to you, that's all you, bro. You got my blessing. I just ain't following you down that path. Maybe Adam will follow you down that path.
We throwing me under the bus now, huh?
Oh no, I'm not. No. I'm not throwing you under the bus. You're driving the bus, but I'm not going to be on that bus. I can't. That bus don't got seatbelts, bro. You just drive it.
This man hitting up ladies that look like Madame Gown from Daredevil.
What? All right, so you just gonna stop at this slander right now. I don't even know what this man's talking about. This man's slanderous, but okay.
But the Skywalker saga, it's like
yeah, Adam's like, whoa, yeah, this man's wild. This man's wild, Adam.
Yeah, this man right here is maximum sus. This man, before you get the man listens,
no, we are not doing this. You are not starting out this new year.
This is before we get the man listens out of Chris. This man, his appetite for the delicate flesh of women is very questionable. That's all I got.
We're gonna leave that for the next episode. That's what we are about to do. But yes, any closing thoughts on the Lucasfilm games, Indiana Jones, anything about we discussed tonight, Gabe?
No, I think we kind of hit all the points. I mean, I'm excited that we're gonna be probably getting a boatload of Star Wars games. I'm excited that Indiana Jones is getting a game. I think we hit everything on that one.
Alrighty. Well, it sounds like we are pretty much good for tonight's episode. Like I said, you guys, it's pretty lax on topics. Like the only big thing that happened this week was the Lucasfilm Games announcement and Star Wars games being cross-published now, which is very awesome. But yeah, we will be back in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully there are more things to talk about. And if not, it's literally going to end up being a podcast of us talking about what we watched or played in the past 2 weeks, which is not a bad thing at all. I mean,
we can. I was like, we could probably do something. We could launch I don't know, maybe a live play community event or something. I don't know.
We can watch Gabe. We can watch Gabe play the Old Republic. I think Adam is probably going to get a big kick out of that.
Ooh, you know what we could do? I don't know. Maybe we'll get taken down. We can do a live reaction watch of the Crystal Skull.
I can guarantee you nobody's probably going to be doing that, or at least they ain't going to be sober when they doing that.
Yo, there's this scene, all right?
No. This is your man listen moment. This is your man listen moment. Cut that shit out. Cut that shit out right now. This is your man listen moment. At least my man listen moment ends. At least my man listen moment ends with some, something. I don't know what you got for that movie.
No, it does not. This man's a liar. It does not. This
man was
glitching.
Nah, man. See,
no,
your audio ain't matching no video, homeboy. You was glitching out this video.
No, this man's listen always ends with some sort of weird sus thing, even if he doesn't have to say anything. Like he'll share like I don't know, the actor from The Mandalorian who's like this 56-year-old Asian woman. He's like, man, listen. And we already know where that man listen is going. You don't gotta speak it out or tell the story. We already got the idea.
Yeah, and also other people agree with me to that, man, listen. So I'm saying I'm not alone.
I don't know about that though. Chris,
your boy Danny even agreed with that too, man. So hey, you might have to listen, man.
You all living a fantasy. All living a fantasy. You all looking at her thinking she Mulan, but she ain't looking like Mulan. She Madame Gown.
Oh, listen, man. That's what I'm saying. Just listen, man. I had to flip it up. I had to flip it up on you right now because listen. I ain't doing this shit tonight. That's the first man listen of 2021, right there.
No, that is not. That's bullshit.
It's the first man listen of the Sweaty Cast, and that's all these people listening need to hear. That's all they need to know. They don't need to know everything else.
Yeah, I'm about to go on your Twitter and search. And then this man said, "Man, listen," and I want to find something within the last 15 days.
Well, yeah, you know what? We could save that for episode. We can save that for episode 3. But that's all we got. Yeah, that's all we got for tonight's episode of the Sweaty Cast, you guys. Thank you so much for everybody who came through and sat through this man Gabe slandering my whole life, which I might have to threaten legal action. I might have to pull a Ray Fisher more soon.
Yeah, you got the receipts.
Yeah, straight up. We might have to put Gabe on trial. Gabe
I'm
might
being
be on
written
trial.
out of the Sweaty Cast.
He might. We're gonna recast you. You know what we're gonna recast? We're gonna cast you with Oscar Isaac.
I just want to let you guys know that I have not been written out of the Sweaty Cast yet.
Not yet. No, that he knows. That he knows. Right? So that's as far as he knows. But Gabe, where can all these lovely yet sweaty people find you? Where can they find you, man?
All right, you sweaty lights. I don't know. We'll work on that. Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter. My name is the one in the description of the video. Well, not description, in the video. It's at ShutUpGabe with 2 E's. You can follow me on Twitch, which is also ShutUpGabe, but with 1 E. Ooh. And then if you guys want to follow my very boring, with lots of pictures of my cat, Instagram, it's also ShutUpGabe.
With 1 E or 2 E's?
With 1 E.
So
I already got screwed on Twitter.
Yeah, right. That's what it is. Straight up, they're like, so we already have to tell one person to say "Shut up, Gabe."
If anybody knows the "Shut up, Gabe" on Twitter with the 1 E, can you please tell him? Can I have it? Because that man doesn't even post.
Oh my god, we just need to buy the domain. We just gotta hit them up and say, "Hey, we'll pay you." We'll pay you
the man's got 6 followers and doesn't share. Somebody please
give us the name. But we'll work on that. That'll be a goal for like the next 10 years. And y'all already know where to find me. NeoGameSpark right there down below in the video, in addition to the description. And we will be back with another episode, most likely towards the end of the month. Yeah, most likely on the 28th, depending on scheduling. It'll happen sometime that week. And we'll have some, hopefully some more topics to discuss. But if not, we'll just have to listen to Gabe recite his love for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I to this day have never found somebody who's ever done that. But hey, listen, this is what you come to. This is what you come to the Sweaty Cast for. These weird ass opinions.
Man, listen, he gets in a refrigerator.
See, we gotta deal with that shit, bro. See, you see what I gotta deal with, you guys? I gotta deal with this stuff every day with this guy. Can you go back? Can you go back to standing Rise of Skywalker? I actually like that game more than this game.
Oh, because I actually like Rise of Skywalker. There's no fun making jokes in it. I mean, it is, but Crystal Skull. I feel like Crystal Skull hurts you more than Rise of Skywalker. I really do.
Well, Crystal Skull, I hated it, but it was also, it's like, that was one bad Indiana Jones movie. It sucks that it took 20 years and we got a bad one, but it's whatever. But with Star Wars, it's more squander potential than anything else, you know?
Oh, okay.
So I'm just a little bit hurt. But yeah, you guys, we thank you guys so much for coming through to the stream, and we'll be back.
Thank you.
We'll be back on the next one. And until then, you guys, stay sweaty. You just literally just do that. You just do that. He just did like that, like no goodbye. He's just like that. Alrighty, y'all.
I'll slander you some more.
All right, y'all. Take care. Peace out.
Peace.